Welcome to Beyond the Veil by Carolyn Wellington. Chapter 1, The Hidden Room, Part 5. While her small white coffin sat in the room, I would sit cross-legged on the living room floor opposite. I understood the sadness, but I didn't understand why this was supposed to be normal. I was just a child trying to find some childhood magic as I watched television, just like any other child enjoying programmes like Pinky and Perky, Andy Pandy and Bill and Ben the Flower Pot Men on our small black and white screen. I turned the volume up hoping the silly songs and happy sounds could compete with the heavy silence in the house. "Dinner, Carolyn!" The call came from the kitchen. As a complaint child, I quickly turned the TV off. In our house, you were never ever told more than once. I speedily walked down the narrow hallway because, again, we were always told to walk, not run. But midway to the kitchen, I froze, solid. Clear as a bell, my sister's voice called my name twice. "Carolyn! Carolyn!" With sheer excitement, I shouted, "She's awake!" I quickly hurried into the kitchen. The words tumbled out of me to tell my parents. But the room was dead silent. My mother and father just looked at me. Then came a quiet, crushing whisper. "No, she isn't, Carolyn." I was confused. Why didn't they believe me? Why wasn't anyone running to check? I was a talkative girl, always bursting with questions, but the heavy silence in the kitchen told me not to ask any more. After dinner, bedtime was calling. The routine was to get ready for bed, then go and say goodnight to my sister. I always had to go to the side of the coffin, look in and say good night. Looking back now and understanding the Scottish tradition of why the coffin stayed open day and night seems quite traumatic. Now, years later, I ask myself, what was I seeing? How did my sister look? Was there a smell that came from the coffin as the lifeless body just lay there? I can't remember. All I know was that was my routine. Good night, Debbie. In 2014, I went back to visit that house. I was standing on the driveway, showing a friend where I grew up, when a lady in her late 30s or early 40s came out. I approached her and explained that I used to live there until I was 9 years old. At this point in my life, I was 54 years of age. She kindly asked if I would like to come in and see if it had changed at all. I had wanted to go back inside that house for so many years and jumped at the chance. Walking towards the porch where I used to sit and play sometimes, I wondered how I would feel. She showed me around and so much of it looked deeply familiar. The wall between the kitchen and the living room had been taken down to create easier access and more space. I said, "Oh, we had to go down the hallway to get to the living room," I commented. "This bit is new." We chatted as we walked into the middle of the living room. I stood there and looked across at the dining room. The layout was exactly the same. A big dining table, and to the right of it, a modern-day Singer sewing machine, but with no cast iron pedal. I immediately broke down in tears. I can't explain it, but all of a sudden, the years melted away. I was that 7-year-old child again, filled with the same old sadness and sorrow. The lady asked if I was okay. I apologised, trying to pull myself together. "Oh, I'm so sorry," I said. "But I lost my sister when I lived here. I can't explain it, but as I'm standing here, I'm 7 years old again. It's a strange feeling. It's like I've travelled back in time. As I looked towards the dining table, I saw the vision of my sister's coffin and the old Singer's sewing machine, which was in the exact same place as my mother's back in the 1960s. The owner of the house gently rubbed my arm to comfort me and told me there was no apology needed. She understood, with a gentle smile on her face. She then asked me if I remembered the room next to the kitchen. I looked at her a little confused because I had no recollection of any other room there. Was it a later addition? She led me into a downstairs bedroom right beside the kitchen space. I stared at it, completely shocked. I asked, "Is this new to the house?" She gently replied, "No, it's always been here." I told her I had absolutely no memory of it ever existing. Leaving the house, I was riddled with questions and curiosity. I wished I'd taken photographs to look back on, but I hadn't thought about it whilst inside. On the way home, I kept talking about how, out of nowhere, I had gone back in time to that young Carolyn again, filled with feelings of pain and sorrow. I quickly realised that this was a trauma flashback. My adult mind had opened up a memory frozen in time. I couldn't wait to get home later that day and call my brother to tell him about my visit and my strange experience. When I called, I asked him about the downstairs bedroom and why I didn't remember it or even know it was there. I said, "It was like a hidden room," I laughed. "It was our parents' bedroom," he told me. I was stunned. I asked him, "Why on earth I didn't know about that?" His reply was simple. "Because you were never allowed in it." Looking back, I see the truth now. Behind that locked bedroom door, they kept their mourning private, away from us. Without malice, they shut my brother and me out, not realising that we too had a right to grieve. I guess at 7 years of age, I felt I had nowhere to go, so I would retreat back under my mother's Singer sewing machine, rocking gently on that heavy iron pedal, back and forth. I sang one of my favourite Sunday school songs, "Jesus Loves Me," into the open space to comfort my sad and lonely soul. It is a heavy realisation as I picture myself as a child in that heavy grieving home. Even today, many years later, that house, 53 West Main Street, remains the centre of my childhood, my memories and my family. It was where we were once all together as one. Yet as I sit here writing this book, a hard reality has surfaced. I am realising that my childhood was filled with deep, quiet trauma. And it was not nearly as happy as I have always spent my life believing it was.